Hello everyone and welcome to the round glass review for the Viltrox 40mm f2.5. This lens is available in both Z and E mounts, and the Z mount users lucked out because they got to use this lens for a long time before us E mount users got our hands on it. Typical lens uses include as a semi-fast general wide-angle lens. Now in practice, this is great as a carry-around general use lens. It's fantastic for documentary or reporting work, and it is also really lovely for street photography. For your bottom line up front, this lens is very good, especially for the cost. Where this lens truly shines is with scenes that show some of the subject's surroundings, not just a close-up of the subject filling the frame. Your focal length and AOV are 40mm and 57.8 degrees on full frame, 16mm and 39 degrees on APS-C. The aperture range is 2.5 through 16. Element and group count are 10 and 6. Design type looks very double-gauss-like to me. Still, months after recording the showdown video with the Sony lens, I think that's looking like a very double-gauzy type lens. Filter size is 52mm. The closest focus is 0.34 meters, which in the US is almost 2x the size of the largest object a Tesla Cybertruck can safely drive over without risking battery pack damage and an explosion, though to be fair, I'm not certain I believe a Cybertruck needs to actually drive over anything to risk exploding. Now, if you'll excuse me, my Ford app just dinged with my car's daily new recall notice. The drive type is a stepper motor with a lead screw for autofocus and fly-by-wire manual focus. The native mount is Sony E and Nikon Z. The dimensions for E are 65 by 59.5 millimeters and for Z, 68 by 56 millimeters. The weight is 167 grams for E and probably in that ballpark for the Z. As we discussed, capture scenes with this lens. Subjects in scenes, specifically. Show the world around your subjects. This is not an expansive all-world lens like a 28mm or wider lens, by which I mean that the subjects in your photos will still take up a good deal of your image real estate. But this lens does have a lot of capability to put your subjects into their scene, vice filling the frame with the subject or isolating them from the background. As an affordable lens, with decently quick AF and low weight, this is a good lens to take for reporting work as it is easy to carry, and if it gets broken, it's not a financial loss you'll never recover from. I hope. So if you're taking photos in an area where there is a risk to your camera gear, this is the lens to take. Lastly, this is a simple lens, and the only interface on it is the fly-by-wire manual focus control. It takes no time at all to get the hang of this lens, and the general feel is exactly the same as the 20mm f2.8, 50mm f2, and 35mm f1.7. If you use those lenses, this one will feel very familiar. And by the way, that's a good approach for any lens maker to use. Have lenses in a series or a price category or whatever handle and feel the same so that buyers are encouraged to stick with the handling they know. Speaking as someone who shoots way too many systems because of this channel, man, I wish all lenses had at least the same focus ring turn direction and aperture ring placement. Starting with the colored lights at infinity, we see a good deal of cat eye blur on the image periphery, but in the mid-range toward the middle we see cat eye mixed with aperture-induced hexagons. The middle shows hexagons, and this tells us a few things. The mixed shape blurs tell us that this is physical vignetting in the light pathway due to a restriction within the lens housing's diameter. This also occurs between the aperture and the sensor. The hexagons in the image's middle tell us that the aperture itself never fully opens, or maybe it's better to say that at infinity focus, the aperture, when fully open, does not open far enough to fully remove itself from the light's pathway. At close focus, the story changes a good deal with the blurry lights being circular, meaning that the aperture is now clear of the optical path. The conical points on the perimeter lights are likely a mix of the lights being closer to the focal plane and some projection angle mixed with physical vignetting. For APS-C users looking at this as a close-up portrait lens, this could be an interesting choice for that. Lastly, the blurry lights here do show the onion rings from the lens's spherical elements. Looking at the entire DOTS test chart, we can see on the right that I goofed in my alignment with the sensor slightly. So as we look at this lens, the left side of the image will be more accurate to the lens's performance, and we know that because the monitor's pixels are in better detail on that side. Cropping the dots to 100% and looking at the image's center, we see suitable sharpness, especially for a lens that costs, as of this video's recording, US dollars 166. Other than that, aberrations are well controlled in the image center with just some slight softness that is to be expected from a budget lens shot wide open and manually focused in the dark. In the top left, we see flies that show some chroma mixed with tangential astigmatism, the diagonal line being blurry and that blur worsening as it approaches the image corner is further demonstration of tangential astigmatism. The circular lines are crisp and show excellent control of radial astigmatism. The story is basically the same on all corners of this image, allowing for my monitor misalignment. But what this test shows is even aberration presence around the frame, with tangential astigmatism and chroma being the issues that will arise in your photos. That does limit this lens's usability for astrophotography. Sharpness is very good for the price class, especially in the center, which indicates that this lens will be quite a good long normal performer on crop sensor bodies. This lens has better sharpness at close focus points than further, too, and the sharpness wide open up close is excellent. Build quality is fine and in keeping with Viltrox entry-tier lens build quality. It's not a build quality or design that will win awards, but it does exactly what it needs to, and it feels okay when doing it. Contrast is generally strong, and that makes colors very punchy and bold. I honestly love how this lens handles colors. Aperture stars are not to my liking. I feel kind of comfortable making a bold proclamation here that the third-party budget lenses coming from China must all use the exact same aperture leaf design or very close to it, because the stars that they produce all have the same characteristic performance. No, seriously, check my work on this. Watch some of the other videos in this series of similar class lenses, such as the Mica 50mm f1.8, which is fresh in my mind right now. That lens's aperture stars are, to be nice, underwhelming until f11, and then look good at f16. This lens has that same performance, and the stars look the same. So, in a nutshell, stars are not what this lens does well. Out of focus areas are pleasing, especially with close focus points. Blur with this lens adds very nicely to the image aesthetic. Distortion is slightly barrel, but exceptionally well controlled for a lens of this price. Light loss is noticeable both in testing a white computer monitor with the lens at infinity focus and the front of the lens right up next to that monitor, as well as in real life. The vignette introduced by this lens can be a pleasing image element with the right use. Flare and ghosting are very well controlled, both with and without the hood. Now, let's also be clear for a second. The hood is just for decoration, and the shape and size of it will do nothing for flare and ghosting. That said, I had one image only that exhibited both flare and ghosting. In regular use, both flare and ghosting were non-issues for me with this lens. Balance with cameras is fine for light and mid-weight cameras. It's a bit front light on heavy cameras, but this does mean that a heavier full-frame, especially camera, will rest largely upright when you hang it from a neck or shoulder camera strap with this lens on it. And that means that candid street photos shot from the waist are a bit easier to do with this lens without accidentally pointing the camera in the wrong direction.